Hello and welcome to the Uneducated PT Podcast with me, your host, Carl O'Rourke. The goal of this podcast is to bring on interesting and knowledgeable people from all walks of life, learn a little something from each conversation, and for you, the listener, to learn something from each episode. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the box below, show some support, and I'll see you on the next episode. Paul, welcome to the Uneducated PT Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for inviting me, mate. I made up. I couldn't believe it when I said a wind up.
I said it's about time that I got a man with an accent of yours on. Do you know what I mean? Just for the wider audience.
Yeah, get those subtitles going, buddy.
For the listeners, will you just tell them a little bit about yourself? Like how long you've been working in the fitness industry, what got you into it, all that stuff.
So it's been a lengthy process. It's been many years coming. So back at the age of 21, which was 22 years ago, it's what I wanted to pursue. But I've been a steel worker all my life, and back then it was a case of you had to go to college to get this type of qualifications, or so that's a case of jacking in the job, and going and pursuing, the qualifications needed to be a nutritionist or a sports scientist or whatever. But many years later, after I had kids, it was probably the wrong time of life to go after it. I had a spate of mental health, dealing with stress, anxiety, and things like that. And I'd had some time off work, and I thought, I'll bugger it and I go and I follow my, what my passion is, and I'm going to get a nutrition qualification. So that's why I went out and got like a level 4 with BTN Academy. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. And then I just on the back of that, it was like, and the best thing about it was that I still work full time. So I'm only a part-time coach, and I have been now for just over 3 years. I've been coaching, I suppose, while I was doing my learnings for 4 years. But in a way, I've been coaching for far longer as well, whether it's been in sport and you know what I mean. I've been involved with coaching of some kind. That's basically my background in coaching.
I was just about to say today, I was a metal sheet worker there for a good couple of months. The most demanding job physically demanding job that I've had involved. Well, I was in the army as well, but metal sheet worker, just kind of bending steel and stuff like that all day.
Yeah, but that's graft, that is. Yeah,
that's real graft. I would tell you, I didn't want to go to the gym after doing a hard day's work.
No chance, no. So I was like working shifts. We were producing steel in it. So, and at the moment, it's going through a bit of a upheaval. They're making us all redundant, and they're closing. Well, the iron side of things. So the making of steel has ceased now since a fortnight ago. So there'll be no more steel being processed in Port Talbot. Yes. Oh, you've disappeared. There's something going on here. You still there?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a tough time at home at the minute. So
what do you want to do going forward? Would you like to go into coaching full time?
Yeah, coaching full time. That's the plan. So,
and what made you want to get it? Like, what made you want to go and do a nutrition course through all this? Like, did you have a background in sport? Was it that you were training at the time? Like, what made you pursue? What made you pursue this while still working your full time job?
So I think exactly that. Really, it was a love for sports since I was a kid. Just hand up for everything. Very competitive. Still am. So I've signed up for IROX and I plan on winning. So
where are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm doing it in Birmingham now.
Yeah. That's only a couple of weeks ago, or weeks away, isn't it?
Yeah. I've done no preparing for it. Mind, I'm just going to rock up and win.
Bulldozer.
So it's a background in that, and then my life kind of changed when I started my apprenticeship, and then in 2001 I started working full time on shifts. I met my missus, that's Welsh for wife.
Don't worry, the Irish listeners will know exactly what you mean.
so I met Mel, and kind of I put sport to one side for like a season. So with shifts and then having a new girlfriend and things like that at the time, it was I put sport on a back burner, and I've always been like very active.
Yeah.
And I just smashed on the pounds, like, so I put on quite a bit of weight. So I was like at 12 and a half stone outside half, and then all of a sudden I'm like a 15 and a half stone guy walking around, not feeling great. Not I wouldn't say I was like seriously overweight. I'm pretty tall. I could carry it, like,
Yeah.
but just started to get really unwell. I was having really bad headaches and things like that. And I got to be honest with you, I never enjoyed gym training, and I was like, in that era, it was if you were playing or training in that area, it was especially around South Wales and the valleys, there was a lot of like steroid abuse going on and things. So a lot of the boys were doing that, and it just wasn't my scene, even though they were good friends of mine. I played rugby with them and what have you. It was just something I like. I even used to think like protein was like I wouldn't drink protein because it was like a steroid, and creatine, no chance, like, but yeah, there was that type of, I had that type of belief then. But with this ill health, the doctor said, look, you can't just stop doing what you've been doing for years. That's what's happened. You've had a change. So the doctor was saying what I would say as a coach now. You've had a massive change and that was way back then, like, so a bit ahead of his time, I'd say. So was like your lifestyle's completely changed like overnight, and that's why you're feeling the way you are. That's why you've put on so much weight. That's why you're having these spates of ill health, like. So he said you need to either go back to play sports and like get in the gym. Why don't you try the gym, like? And that's what I did. I just fell in love with it because I think I'd put on that much size. I was eating like a 15 stone man.
Yeah.
So I was eating quite a significant calorie, surplus, and I probably was for many years. It's just
you could get away with it.
Yeah, because I was more active, like, and I wasn't working shifts. I wasn't sleeping all day, and like you don't realize those little things. They make a big difference over a period of time. So just started the gym, seen a massive change in my physique, started to build a lot of muscle, and like I went from 15 stone of being kind of almost like shapelessness, I suppose. I had scrawny arms, I had a bit of a belly coming. I weren't feeling self-conscious about it or anything like that, but as soon as I started seeing, I had shoulder development and all that, and I got into kind of like the bodybuilding thing. So it was a case of, Muscle and Fitness magazine and Men's Health and stuff, and I was just I was into it, and that was that, like, and that's what led to it. Then that's what led to my interest in nutrition, into training, into, I suppose, like bodybuilding, I suppose. Not that I was trying to get like stage ready. It wasn't a thing. Like a photo shoot wasn't a thing back then. And like bodybuilders were kind of, it wasn't for everyone back then. Whereas now you've got multiple categories and things like that. It was still like an older generation of bodybuilders, like. I'm waffling on a bit here, mate.
No. I was just listening, and I thought that was really interesting. I think a point that I took there, I think a lot of listeners would probably relate, because a lot of them would be a lot of the people that would listen to this might be kind of in their 30s and just kind of stopping sport for the first time in their lives, whether they're playing rugby or football or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Life kind of gets in the way, and they have to kind of give one thing up, and like. I know so many of my friends as well who have stopped playing sport, and then they just notice the weight completely piles on because, their energy expenditure has been so high for so long that, again, you can get away with almost, I won't say eating what you want, but to a degree it is kind of eating what you want and still being able
of getting away with something. It's just you don't, without realizing, your lifestyle changed, but your eating patterns are still similar.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a case of you getting away with it. It's just you've ate for so many years and developed the eating habits that you have around the environment and the conditions that you put in your body through and things, and then that thing changes, whether you have kids, whether your shift pattern changes. Your priorities change, and but your hunger levels and everything else, your food decisions, your choices, all kind of probably stay similar.
Mm.
You don't adjust them.
Do you think that, you know, the way you said that you didn't really have a love for the gym beforehand when you were still playing sport, but the second time around, after you've probably gained a little bit of size and then you had, you know, that outlet of the gym to focus on, and you probably seen results probably quite rapidly as well. Did you think that gave you the motivation to kind of stick at it and then fell in love with the process?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say it was a big motivation to see that instant change. Like we're talking over a couple of weeks, and like I was able to throw everything into it as well. So, like I said, I'm still living with my mum. Um, I had, like I said, I'd met my wife. I was working shifts, so I had all day. I was working long shifts, but they were unsociable hours. So I had all day to be able to go to the gym. So I was training. I had a good routine going. So I was training my 4 days off. I was training, at quiet times of the day. I was able to train at minimum 5 times a week, and that's what got that development so quickly. And it was a case of I put on so much muscle mass in a short period of time that people would said, "No, you're definitely on the peds." Like, there's no way you can't be. But
Isn't that always a compliment though?
but at the time you're trying to deny it. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It would be worse if you were on it and people were saying, no, you don't look like you're on it.
that would hurt. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that I think that was the case. It was, yeah, that was a big motivator because it's genetic as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not some people do have to work hard and they're not going to get that aesthetic look, and that's what I've learned working with my clients is and try to get them to understand is you can't bring a photo like you would like I do to my barber, take a photo of, this is the haircut that I want, this is the that I want. And you do get it. You get some, people come in for consultations,
Yeah,
and say, can you make me look like that? And you're going to try and explain that it's a mixture of a lot of different things to get you to that place. Yeah, it's just, everyone's different. And like, you've got some people who can run marathons, just take to running, take that swim. I swam a lot of my early life as well. So, and I was very competitive at it. So, yes, a lot of it is like say is to do with genetics and being fortunate enough to be able to pursue things that you're good at. Like,
do you know what I like? The fact that you're a coach, but you also kind of can understand the difficulties of trying to balance, let's say, working shift work, having a home life, having a partner, all these things. And it can make it difficult to, for a general population client to be able to stick at something at their health and fitness routine, or if they're, trying to implement new habits. Like, it's difficult because the gym isn't their sole life. Have you noticed that because of the way that you came into coaching and the background you have in coaching, it has made you kind of more empathetic to being able to understand people's, realistic lives rather than, let's say, like a 17-year-old kid who just went straight into personal training and that's been their whole life and their whole identity and it's all they have to worry about?
yeah, definitely. I think knowing that, I've lived a life so far. So, like say, I've worked a regular job. You know what I mean. I've had the kids. I've got married. I've got a house. I've got responsibilities. I got 2 dogs now. You know what I mean. And I realized that there is a sacrifice that needs to take place. And like, when I was going through the stuff that you sent me, and I was like reflecting, it's easy for me to say, reflecting on things and thinking that it isn't, if you're pursuing something and you want to achieve something, then and you're a bit banned about being in a, you need a balance. It's all about balance, and it's never about balance. I think we strive for balance, but you've always got to sacrifice in order to focus. Yeah, you have to focus in an area, and something else has to fall off. Something has to fall by the wayside. So you have to sacrifice something in order to achieve something. And that's the case for me. So like, I'm sacrificing at the moment because I'm in that process of becoming a full-time coach and waiting on that redundancy. I've got that goal. I've got that that focus and drive towards that. So I'm willing to sacrifice at the moment, it seems to be my sleep, in order to get my own fitness. I know, yeah, own fitness in. So I'm up at 4:20 in the morning. I'll train then 5 till 6. I'll have clients 6 till 7. Then I'll go into work. I'll work it's an 8-hour shift. So I'll do my 8 hours. I'm working days at the moment. And then I'll leave there, and then I'll go back to the gym for 5 o'clock, and prepare for my clients at 6 and then 7. On top of that, I'm working for a good friend of mine as part of his physio. He's like a private physio practice.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. I'm trying to learn then S&C around people with life-changing injuries and things. And I also do nutrition coaching, virtual and like calls like this, with those patients. So you're talking about guys who are, really struggling at having had their life turned upside down because of a catastrophic accident, and not only affects them, it affects their families. They're limited in the physically and often neurologically, so I'm in a short period of time and living the life that I have lived. I've got quite a lot of experience. I don't want to blow smoke.
No.
But yeah, I think I've got that in the background. But I'd love to be, again, on the other hand, someone who's like 17, new to it, naive, getting into it, and they're just not worried, not awake at night because something that their client is dealing with. Do you know what I mean? I've had sleepless nights where I've had clients that perhaps aren't seeing results, and it may be something going on, whether it's in their life, home life, work life, whatever, and it plays on me. And whether someone, I'm not saying that the 17-year-old wouldn't be empathetic, but I'm just saying, having experienced it, I feel I might be a little bit more, empathetic then to that type of.
You're probably more inclined to be able to relate because, like you said, there is life experience there. There is obviously like exceptional young people who can have that emotional intelligence, but I can tell you now, it wasn't me at 17 anyway. So can I ask you a question then, Paul? So like, what are the type of issues that your clients would have when they come to seek out help with you?
Yeah, so it's often, with most coaches, I imagine, it's confidence, it's that self-esteem, it's body image, and it's coming with those type of things. And like say, when I work with then the patients from the physio practice, then that's a different thing again. But yeah, I suppose if we just focus on the type of client, then yeah, it's usually they come with, I want to lose a bit of weight, I want to tone up. They use the same, things. There's very few that come in and say, I don't want to lose weight, or anything like that. But it often boils down to like body image and feeling, feeling better about themselves.
Yeah. So what would you say are some of the common mistakes they make, that you have to almost coach out of them, that they stop making so that they can actually see success, whatever that looks like to them?
Yeah, so it's typically body image. If I go back to the body image side of things, that's often more to do with not. I suppose it's that it's their emotions in the time of imagine this people say, yeah, tonight I feel ugly, I feel fat, and say,
I have a quote from you that I actually wrote down. So it's like you spoke about feeling fat often has less to do with our actual body size and more to do with our emotional state and self perfection. So yeah, is that something? Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit to the
Yeah,
listeners?
that's exactly it for me. It's like it's an emotional state that they might be in. They're feeling low down. There's something, other things going on in their lives that they're not happy with. You know what I mean? Perhaps a little bit of insecurity or whatever going on. But when they say, "Oh, I'm feeling fat," they're feeling low about themselves.
Yeah.
But I think, but what I'm saying in that post is like, if you keep repeating those words to yourself, you're going to start believing it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're saying, "Oh, I'm fat, I feel ugly, look at the state on me," it's all it's doing is building that belief, that self-talk is not helping you in that moment. Like, so it's about digging deep, and that's what I try to do with my clients is like peel back the layers, ask the questions, try and get, layer by layer. It may take one session, it may take, 10, 12 sessions, but over time we just strip back and find out, where it is we can, what are they dealing with, how can we overcome that, and not answering the questions or what have you, but I'm trying to solve their problems. That's I think that's one thing that we try and do too much, is trying to, as coaches, try and solve the client's problem. I don't think we're capable of solving anyone's problem. So it's about asking those questions and, leading them to find a solution for themselves. So that's what I would do,
Create that awareness for them to be like, okay, do I actually need to lose weight, or is it just that I just feel a certain way? I don't feel good enough at the moment, or I'm feeling lonely at the moment, and now I'm trying to control that emotion by saying that, now I'm 70 kilos on the scales. Now that means I'm worthy of love, or I'm worthy of whatever the case may be.
And I think we attach body image to that, and we do as coaches as well. So as coaches, if someone comes to us, "Oh, I got a body image issue," I think we instantly think, well, we need to get you to a certain body composition, and that body image thing will be solved.
Yeah.
And that, from experience, that's not the case. It isn't. I don't think it matters what the body composition is, because they typically look back at a body composition they were unhappy in, 5-6 years ago, and remember, if they actually went back to that moment, they were probably unhappy with that body.
Miserable. Yeah. Do you think that's a misconception, that people think that they can fix their body image issues by looking a certain way, when in fact it's actually how you feel rather than how you look?
Definitely, yeah. It's got to be. It's a lot deeper, and I think you can't just blanket say that a body composition is going to relate to a body positivity, or a feeling of positive body image, just because you can, perhaps you lean, and perhaps you can see your six pack, perhaps you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it, by not solving that, it creates issues in other ways. It can lead to other things. It can lead to further problems. We're not addressing the complete issue there, like. But as I said, that's not everyone. I wouldn't treat every single.
No.
It's a case by case.
How can you kind of spot that as a coach? Like, how can you spot that? Okay, this person actually. The problem isn't that this person needs to build more muscle or lose more body fat. The problem is this person actually is looking for validation because they are full of self-hatred, or just not, content or comfortable in their skin, and that's the real issue, rather than them actually needing to get, leaner, or 7% body fat. Like, it's a difficult one to spot sometimes, when a person might come to you and be like, demand that, I need to get into better shape, and like, you might be looking at that person like, you look in great shape to me.
I see it time and time again. I see people, clients come in, and they or not just clients, but people perhaps have come and just had a consultation, and I've not been for them. Like, and I'm thinking, you're dealing with something a lot deeper, and I wish I could help you in the way, but they need to. We need to have that. I do try and not convince them in the conversation, but try and lead it down that way. Then, and that I'm perhaps the coach that can, or if I can point them in the right direction to another coach or whatever, I don't mind referring out. But yeah, going back to, what was your question? It was it.
How can you kind of spot that this is an actual body composition change issue? This is a body image issue. This is like this person isn't going to feel better by being leaner. This person needs to actually work internally.
I think it's like you say, when they come in, you can almost recognize it it's like an instinctive in a way, and through the questions and conversation, it leads you down that way. So what the beliefs are, around health and fitness and where they are at the moment, what is their diet, what are the relationships with food, how many times have they tried to lose weight in the past or tried to get lean? How many PTs have they worked with before? Have they had bad experiences with other PTs? Have they had good experiences with other PTs? How many times have they been on Weight Watchers? And that all, yeah, it all just puts together like a jigsaw puzzle, I suppose. And I said, I'll only really tell over time if they choose to work with me, because I've had many that have had bad experience with PTs who in my opinion, it shouldn't even be, should be struck off. So I've had that type of client. I've had clients that have had success with Weight Watchers and what's it called, Slimming World. We got. To what they want to achieve, but clearly there's something a bit deeper, and it's not just about losing the weight, and again developed bad relationships with food, and some that have come to me, worked with me, and gone back without me knowing during the time, and done like another Slimming World thing, and then I've just, the conversations come up, and I'm like, everything, and then we've had to untangle all that again, go over and to discuss everything. So I've in a short period of time I've experienced some mad stuff. Like,
I think that the really good point there is, like, you can have them conversations with a client, and you can explain that, okay, actually, this isn't a weight issue, and scale weight's probably not going to solve your problem, or going on another diet's probably not going to solve your problem. And you can say that to client, and you can say it multiple times in multiple different ways, but like, it's not going to be just like a flick of the switch. Okay, because this coach has told me I'm instantly now understand it. It's like, sometimes you have to kind of go through the process multiple times, make multiple mistakes. So that's what I've seen with people anyway. And eventually, the penny drops at some stage, hopefully, with each person. One thing that I like to do, even if it is someone that might be like preoccupied with losing weight, or how they look, or constantly trying to be on a diet and tracking their calories, and trying to change how they look, but not really needing to change how they look, more so change how they feel. Like, even I think something even as simple as, like, trying to direct them more into performance-based goals over aesthetic goals can, like, that can even have a huge impact over time. Is they start to, like, get excited for hitting PBs, or like you're doing, like, competing in a high rocks competition where you're focusing on functionality and what your body can do. And, like, I think there are even, like, even if it's, like, not on the extreme end of body dysmorphia or something, but it's just someone might be coming from a diet culture background, like, even implementing things like that, I've found, like, really effective. It's been effective for myself as well.
Definitely same you. It's even just focusing on the simple things, like movement patterns doing a lunge, you know what I mean, and just reassuring and continuously, you know, saying, look, you're making progress. Look at this. Look at the way you're moving. Even tonight, my client now, you know, just doing back squats. So we've been slowly building up, you know, from body weight to goblet squat, and even throwing in 5 goblet squats and then trying 5 back squats, just making sure she gets that body position. And tonight it all came together, like, and it was like that magical moment, and you know, you leaving on a high, like, so just even that, there's progress more so than, you know, PBs and things like that. Just movement in it, you know, and enjoy.
That's a real satisfying thing, even as a personal trainer, isn't it, to be able to see someone's like mobility and depth and improve, and what that looks like in terms of longevity for that person, in terms of functionality.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've had people come in that, you know, hardly any, well, unable to do a lunge, just, you know, I don't know what it looked like, but being able then to develop and like move, you know, and maintain balance throughout the full, you know, exercise. And people coming in with limited shoulder then say, oh no, I got you know, I got stiff shoulders and all this stuff. But then over the weeks, then, you know, being able to do, you know, a full range of motion with the hands, you know, and it translates then into PBs, doesn't it? Just being able to get that, and being pain free, that's the main thing. So having, you know, niggled, and like I say, it's usually shoulder joints and things like that, lower back and things, and then all of a sudden they come in early doors, and every session, oh, my back is sore, my you know, my shoulders a bit sore, and then over a period of time, all of a sudden you're reminding them, oh, remember the last time you said, and it was like, you know, 2 months ago, like.
Yeah, they actually start to forget how much pain they were in before.
Yeah, because I put them in so much pain, I think. So much pain elsewhere.
Yeah. But you know what? That's a really good point as well. And like you said, like when clients come into you, you know, what they might say that they want is weight loss, but because that's just the generic answer that people say, right? Oh, I want to come in, I want to lose some weight. But what they might really be saying is, oh, I don't want to be in pain anymore. I want to be able to have a quality of life, whether that looks like, you know, confidence in how I feel, but also like, you know, just being able to move freely and being able to, you know, keep up with the kids or have that mobility and stuff like that. And like, they're all the things about kind of functionality that we don't think about that also end up improving someone's body image issues.
So we take it so for granted. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I know I do. And it's I remember when I first started coaching, it was a case of I got to get them to be able to, you know, deadlift with perfectly, you know, flat back and hips back and, you know, perfectly vertical shins and all. And I was like thinking I was murder for it. Like, I was a stickler, and like I was trying to take a boot camp and things, and I would focus. Someone would catch my eye. No, I'm not having that, you know. And I've learned to understand that, providing they're moving and they're not doing any harm, then that's fine. And yet, when I have that one-to-one time, then yeah, I'll address certain things and what have you. But I've also, you know, I've learned that it's not going to cause, you know, injuries. Like a bit of a valgus knee isn't going to cause, you know, they don't do it enough for it to cause an issue to them. Like, we work on it over time. It improves, and you know. And that's how I like to coach. Like,
do you think that's something that you've gained with experiences when you get? Because I've definitely noticed the exact same thing with me, where I went from kind of like being in a phase of coaching where it's like just didn't know anything about a teaching form or technique, to then being really full on, to then kind of relaxing about it with experience, understanding that, you know, all movement essentially is good movement, as long as they're not like, the load management is an extreme that they're going to injure themselves. Like, you learn to understand that, okay, the most important thing is probably that they're actually getting in and moving their body, and the mobility will come with that.
That's right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's the way I've gone. And it's like, because of my training over the years, when I first started training, I thought, I'm going to be, you know, you just want to be, the best that I've like, don't you? So I was like being very critical. I wouldn't be overly critical, but in my mind, I think this needs to be better. I got other PTs judging the way that my clients move. I mean, we've all been there. And I still think it sometimes. I think, oh, they're watching me a little bit. Better make sure.
Yeah. Make sure she doesn't have a round back.
But yeah, so I'm thinking, Ollie, I've still got these things, and you're always aware of people judging you, and that's what makes you a better coach, I think. If you didn't give a monkeys,
Yeah.
like, but yeah. So, but I have eased a lot, and like say, I will say, right, we'll over there, we'll try this, try that, but like over the weeks, like this, let's say patient client this evening, it's probably she's into her third month now, and it's been gradual, and it's everybody's different. Like some will just nail a back squat, like they've always done it, and they've never done it before, and depth is there and everything like that. And then you get others then that perhaps their proprioception isn't quite there, but they still, like I say, they're still moving. They get in two-way depth. You know what I mean? They're challenging themselves. They're building confidence, and yeah, we just work from where the client is at, like, and just try and, like I say, that PB will come with perhaps a little bit of extra depth in a squat or something like that, rather than just reps and weight and load. Like,
yeah, it makes sense. You had a post that said, are you afraid to make a commitment to yourself for fear of failing? Don't worry, you're in good company. So my question to you is, how do you get over that fear of failing? And how can people break through from that? And what's your experience with that?
just keep failing. So just keep failing. Like say, you don't truly fail unless you walk away from something, I suppose, and that's not necessarily. You're always learning. There's always an opportunity in each failing. So, and I think over years, it's experience, over years of failing and knowing is not the end. Like it's not the be all and end all. You just approach it from another perspective, and yeah, that it's building enough confidence to understand that we all, like I've just said to you, I've been quite open about it. Like I still feel, well, when this was a scenario where I felt that I could have been, I was letting myself down a bit when we went to Lewis's, when we met up in Manchester a couple of months ago for that seminar. I just felt I don't belong in this room. There was just that I thought that there's coaches here. I'm not just making the grade. You know what I mean? And it made me. I drove home and I was in a bit of a depressed state, like, and I made a post about that as well. If you go back in the time, it just made me feel really uneasy, like, but I know through experience, by putting myself in that position and feeling that way, it's only going to, I know now, right, I need to do this and this in order to improve and succeed. So that's the mind frame I'm in, and that's only through failing and failing again and then succeeding, and then you succeed again, and then you might be on a bit of a winning streak. And no doubt that when you push yourself, you're going to get to that place where you will fail multiple times again. You learn from those experiences, and you'll push forward, and you'll be better for it. Like, so that's what I'm saying in terms of.
And it's crazy because, like, I understand that they're your thoughts, and then for me, looking at you, I'm like, oh, I think that's crazy that he would think that way. But of course, that, like, everyone has that about everyone else. Is like, I'm surprised that person felt like that way, and it makes me think of, like, if I was to use the analogy of, like, let's say someone walking into the gym for their first time, the first thing they probably think are them exact thoughts that you said, that I don't actually belong here. And yet it's the most crucial time that it's like, okay, I understand that you feel uncomfortable in this situation because it's probably something new, but, like, that means that you're in this kind of growth phase where you're actually putting yourself into an uncomfortable situation, and you're actually supposed to feel like that. Like, it's the paradox. Like, you have to feel your most uncomfortable when you're actually
Yeah.
in a growth stage.
But even in this call now, you articulate yourself way better than what I perceive that I articulate anything. So that, like, but there now, that little burst, but there now, I was like, yeah, nailing it. But I'm thinking, but I'm saying, I'm waffling, I'm talking shit. You know, oh my God, am I making sense? Do you know what I mean? There's always that thing in the
That
back of your mind, like.
Yeah, that self critic that's just constantly there.
Yeah, it's just, and it never leaves. It's just
No.
almost sitting on my.
But do you think that it gets quieter and quieter the more you do?
Yeah,
Because I'd imagine, like, when you're on the gym floor with a client, I imagine that self critic at the back of your head isn't like half as loud as it might have been during your first PT session.
no, not at all. Exactly. You put yourself in that environment over and over again. You just and that, I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? You're in that environment, so you're in a slimming world club. You're gonna be similar. You'll have similar points of view on diet to the people around you. So inevitably you're going to adopt those ways. So by me being in that room, the more time I put myself in that environment with you guys, I'm going to come slowly, inch by inch, become a level playing field with you guys. You know what I mean? And then it's time to step into another one, as you've done. You know what I mean? You've grown your Instagram following, and you've done that incrementally. You showed up every day, and it didn't just happen overnight. You know what I mean? It's happened because you put yourself forward. You articulate yourself really well, and I can't imagine you were articulating half as well as you were, 5 years ago, whatever. You're improving every time. So it's exactly the same in the gym, and it's exactly the same with nutrition and understanding. Having beliefs around food and understanding that Eddie Boo is an idiot. Do you know what I mean? It's coming over and putting yourself, learning from experience. Then
Makes perfect sense. Like, that's the entry. Like, self doubt is the entry for you actually getting better at something. Like, you have to feel that self doubt. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I can ask you another question. So what's a life lesson that you've learned through your work as a trainer that you think other people should know? Like, what have you learned over the past couple of years, working with other people, training other people, helping them to not just improve their body image, but it just improve their quality of life? What do you think you've learned?
I've learned that I have to listen a lot more as a coach. Listening is the key. Listening and ask, and then like reaffirming or repeating back and understanding. So truly listening and repeating back what your clients are trying to say, and not just jumping, like I say, from you're in the world, I've got a poor body image of myself. I don't feel great. I feel fat. I feel ugly. Look at me, I'm out of shape. I got, this, that, and the other. And not just jumping in with, I've got a solution for that. Asking the questions, accepting what they are saying, and understanding, and like reiterating it back in a different way, perhaps from a different angle or what have you, and seeing if you can coax out a little bit more information. And I think you learn more from doing that way. You understand more, and you understand that a lot of clients, even though you treat them as individuals, we're all human. And I think there's certain traits that overlap with everyone. Like, I'm not a counselor or a psychologist or anything, but I'm sure that there's a lot, especially the group of clients I work with, there's a lot that blend in. And I'm the more I'm working with people, the more I can see it. And just from a trend that I can see, there's a lot of overlap in what people are dealing with. Like, it's just on a different scale. It's all like a spectrum, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, yeah,
sub.
that's when you said that first piece there, that my initial thoughts went straight to what I used to do when I was a younger trainer. Is that straight away, someone would say what they want, and I would assume what they want, and I would assume their goal, and then start getting to work straight away on what they want. And yeah, like it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because you miss out on the key ingredient of what someone actually wants by just assuming that you know what they want, that they want weight loss, you know?
And I think you project you were a goal for them. So like, and again, it comes down to like ego and like, and what you've learned and what your experience has been. And if you've only got your experience, you can only go by your experience. Like my experience was get in the gym 5 days a week, smash it, get on the creatine, stay away from steroids. Get on the protein, anything that they selling on Muscle and Fitness, grab all of some of that. Like leucine tablets, like I said, I was doing whatever. If it was in a tablet form, I was taking it, right? All legal, right? And that's boring, I know, but still, I spent a fortune on it, right? And it just went to rot. But anyway, that was my experience. So going into coaching, if I had gone into it at that period of time, I would have said, this is what you do, or forget about nutrition. Because I still eat like shit, right? I shouldn't say eat like shit, because there isn't such thing as eating like shit, right?
Yeah.
Because I still have, people can't believe it when like this morning, one of the girls in the gym made cinnamon rolls. Like I had 2 of the cinnamon rolls. I had no, so what, like, it's part of my diet. Like, so I added no guilt, nothing like that. And that's how I've always eaten. So to me, it was about the gym. That was going to get everyone the same results of what I had. So when people used to ask me, what are you doing? What are you doing? It was like, well, I just gym 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week, 5, perhaps twice on a Friday. I don't know, right? I take weekends off. I do this exercise for these. I do this exercise for that, and it's not the case. It's not a case of you do biceps and you're going to get big arms. It's not. It's a culmination of doing all the compound moves plus biceps. Do you know what I mean? It's and it's, you only learn that over time. Like it's not.
But I mean, there's people that still make that mistake today. Like you see that all over social media, is that someone lost a lot of weight doing a certain diet. Let's say they did the carnivore diet or whatever the diet is. Yeah. So therefore, this diet is the best diet in the world, and this will work for everyone. So you should all do this diet.
That's the proof. So they've got evidence of that. They got their own evidence of that. So for them, that'll work for everyone, and until it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And then they lost then. So it's a case of, well, they can't, they've already built that identity then as carnivore or keto, whatever. That's their identity. So they can't fall away from that. They've told so many people about it.
Yeah.
That they stuck in that. It's like I said,
you can't be the keto diet coach who then says, oh no, let's look for a flexible diet for everyone.
No, exactly, yeah. Or no, we introduce certain drinking fruits and
yeah. It's like it's some of the carnivore influencers are online now are being like, oh yeah, a full carnivore diet, but now you can add in fruit and veg, and now you can add in carbohydrates as well and some fats. All right, okay, so it's a balanced meal, is it?
It's a omnivore, but
no, well, yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think a lot of people, I think people, even people like ourselves who understand that not everything that works for you will work for everyone. You can still fall into that trap at times, even without realizing it. It's a very easy trap to fall into.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. I said, because you build that, you've got evidence that works, and it will work, and things do work. Carnivore works. It works to a point, like and like anything else would. Do you know what I mean? Like a McDonald's diet would, wouldn't it? It's just it'll all work. And if you haven't trained ever before and you start training just your biceps, you will notice a change in your physique. Like, but it'll only get you to a certain point. Like, and that's I think. I'm gone now.
Oh, sorry, I have two more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. So, if you could give one piece of advice, to the people listening, to the listeners of this podcast, in terms of improving their quality of life beyond fitness? What would you say? What would you advise them? Because I'm sure there's, when you're with clients, you're advising them on things even outside of fitness as well.
I think the priority should always be yourself, because you need to protect your energy in order to make a change to your life and the people around you, because that's the first thing that people pick up on is energy. I know, again, from a coaching experience and clients, and they pick up, if like, I'm trying to build a successful business, so I need to be on point with my clients, and I'm not saying that I need to be 100% all the time, but I need to have that energy, because they need that energy to fuel their sessions, to be motivated by me, to be inspired and inspire themselves. So you need to look after that energy. You need to protect yourself from fatigue and things like that, and you can do that just through doing the basics, and that's sleep, water, not excessive. You don't need a flipping Stanley cup. Like I said, sleep, focus, a lot of sleep, perhaps reduce you. I'm going on this one now because I'm on a sobriety kick at the minute, right? So
I know. I seen. Are you a year in, or was it 9 months? I seen.
It's approaching. It might be 10 months now. It's approaching 300 days.
What can I? Sorry. I wanted to actually ask that. So we'll add that in now. So what was the initial reason behind doing that, and how have you felt, and what's life been like differently, and was there any challenges? Tell us a little bit about that.
Energy. That's what it boiled down to. Really was. I've just explained how full my life is at the moment. And I was just, I'm not like I'm like a social drinker and a recreational drinker. Then I like going out, and I got to the point where, excuse me a sec, I'm on a call a minute. I'm on a call now. Sorry.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So yeah, I got to the point where I was being staying, well, not to the point. This is what I would do. I'd go out, and I'd stay out till late, and I'm one of those people that just wouldn't, didn't know when to switch off and go home. Yeah, like I had friends that really envious of, would go out and have a couple. Yeah, they'd be stinking drunk, but they'd go home.
They'd go home. Yeah.
But I've always got to be the last person. You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
Just in case you miss anything.
Yeah, something's bound to happen. Yeah. So there was that, and then I was like, again, going back to the mental health thing. I'd be in bed then on the Sunday, feeling sorry for myself, shaking my head, thinking, not panic attacks, but that dread.
Fear. Yeah.
Minging. So yeah, that would set me back. The Sunday then be a write-off. The Monday then you're still not thinking. Then Tuesday, and I just couldn't afford to be that way anymore. I was on 200 milligrams of sertraline at the time. I'd try to come off multiple times, and I'd get down to a pretty low level. Then I'd have a setback because there'd be a piss up somewhere. And it'd be a reason to go out. It wouldn't be I just go and get pissed. It would be a party. It would be an international.
There's always a party. There's always someone's birthday, someone's wedding, someone's christening. There's always a celebration.
There's always rugby on. There's always a right. So
and rugby has a big drink culture attached to it as well.
Yeah, massively. So there'd be that. So I would keep having setbacks. So I thought once and for all now, it was like the 22nd, went out on the gym night out. Got smashed twice in one night, I think. And then got in early hours of the morning. I'd left my car keys. Well, I thought I'd lost my car keys. I got in, I couldn't get in, so I'm knocking my wife up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so you can imagine. So the next day, it was a case of I had to go and get the car, but the missus wouldn't take me because you got to learn a lesson, ask your father to do it. The thought of asking my father to take me, right, and he would have taken me, there would have been no problem. But in my head, the thought of asking my father to take me to Porthcawl, which is 40-minute drive away from here, right, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like, it was the worst thought in the world. Everything was going through my mind, innit? So I put it off. I ended up doing it on Christmas Eve then. Do you know what I mean? It was a case of I was affecting then family when I saw, you know what I mean, where we'd go out and enjoy Christmas Eve. It bled into Christmas Eve, and I thought, enough's enough. That's it. I told everyone. That's the first thing I done. That's the first thing of accountability, is tell as many people as you can.
Because the people that you tell are also the people that are going to try to get you out.
Yeah, you just gotta tell everyone, though. You got to commit to it. You got to tattoo it on your forehead and make sure that, you know, because otherwise I'd have gone, I'll cut down a bit. I'll cut down a bit on the alcohol, and I've tried it before, and you're half-assing it. There's no chance that there's no cutting down on it. If it's causing that much of an issue, you've got to sacrifice it. You've got to sacrifice. That's what I'm saying. There's no balance, or you can't. And again, alcohol isn't a balance. You can't. It's not balancing a healthy life with alcohol, is it? You're sacrificing time, energy, emotions, other people's emotions.
Can I ask you a question? Was there? Did you find at the start there was a pushback from, let's say, friends and stuff like that when you were saying, no, I'm not going to have a drink? Or because I know in Ireland anyway, there would be quite a culture of like, you know, oh, you're not going to have a drink, I'll go on, just have one, you know, because they're so used to you. It's not like a malice thing, but it's like they're so used to you being out having a drink with them, going on the piss, that then when you know, say no to it, it's almost like you're offending that person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I'd say initially it was a case of, yeah, right. Oh, you've said this before. So, like I said, you've proven time and time again you can't do it. You know what I mean? It's, in a way, it's like you just saying it. You don't mean it. So there was that pushback. So no one believed in me. So I thought, no, I dug in deep, I dug down, I dug in, and I said, no, this is it. I'm doing it. But like the first night out, then it was a case of, you know, you're not drinking, no. And I think people, and I've said it time and time again when people ask me, I think the same as what I would feel if my mate wasn't drinking. You're not part of that social then, even if it's the two of you. You don't feel that engagement. Oh, you're not drinking, you know, it affects that other person. So it's with, they mean it, they don't mean it. I don't think they mean it in a bad way, but they're a bit upset by it. It affects them. Because they feel it's going to affect their night. It's going to affect their enjoyment, because you ain't sharing in this shared experience. And that's where the pushback comes, and it still does, and it doesn't go away. No. Even though I'm 10 months down, it's still you're still not drinking. No, still not drinking, and there is a difference. It will cause a lot. Like, I haven't been to the rugby club since, you know, I stopped drinking, because it's pointless. I've been out multiple times. I've been to a Foo Fighter concert. I'm never going to a concert again sober. But I've experienced a concert. I've experienced internationals, done the Six Nations. I've gone out. I've purposely gone out on night out and works dues and everything like that.
Try not to put your life on hold, because I have to live as well.
And it's not that difficult. I got to be honest. Once you've committed to it, once you're in there, and the fact that I've told everyone, I've had nightmares. Honest to God, I've had nightmares that I've had a drink.
So can I ask you a question then? So have you noticed like an uptake in your quality of life since stopping, or do you feel like that you're able just to manage your tasks more effectively without kind of dragging yourself around with a hangover?
Exactly that. I have noticed I've noticed physical change, as in I'm able to. I'm training more.
Yeah, your recovery is obviously going to become better, isn't it?
Exactly. My recovery is like, I wear a whoop, and I know it's not completely accurate. I'm not stupid, but the recovery is never, very rarely in the red. I've got to have like 3 hours sleep in a night or whatever. Or whatever, you know, or I've been out. Even if I've been out and I have a late night, that affects it quite a bit. But it doesn't, it gives me more time when I do feel I still get anxiety, like everyone does, you know what I mean? And especially since coming off the sertraline and stuff, because going back to that, it had a big effect on me coming off that, a big influence. I without failing, I just dropped the dosage every couple of months. It was, it was done, but I came off, not an issue. I had a few side effects, but I think if I had been drinking, I wouldn't have been able to deal with those side effects. But I was able to push through, got over the side effects, and I've been off was since April now, end of April. I still have depression. I still overthink things. But it's not consuming me for days on end. I've gained back that time, and like I said, that focus and energy to be able to deal with it, and I'm not losing days. I'm not putting myself under unnecessary pressure and things like that. So yes, I'm noticing it that way, but you don't notice it from a day to day, like you do with fat loss. You don't notice it from one day to the next. Every day ebbs and flows, so there might be social pressures, there might be family pressures, there's illness in the family, there might be work pressures. Like, I'm working 3 jobs, there's going to be pressure, right? But I'm able to ride that out a lot more effectively than ride it out and up and down and then dropping off a cliff. And
there'd be massive dips. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm down here then, having to recover myself back up. You know what I mean? And then so that's what I see. So I'm over a 12-month. If I probably look back, if I had I should have really. I do journal, but not properly. So if I had like recorded everything, then I might have seen a big difference, a big measurable difference.
So it's like we just touched on, even with the client who, comes into the gym in pain, and then after a couple of weeks of training, they might not notice it, but they realize that, I'm not in pain anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It just happens, and that's
your new.
That's exactly, that's your new normal. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's exactly.
One last question for you, Paul. So, what advice would you give to your younger self if you could talk to them? It's a difficult question, isn't it? I'll narrow it down to make it more easier for you. So, what would you give to your younger self if you could talk to them, who's starting off their career in the fitness industry?
I think I would say, like I've done all along since the start, there's just been honest with myself. So, and I was told in my first coaching seminar, when I put myself in that uncomfortable situation with other coaches, and you compare, and it's natural, you're going to compare. There's no avoiding it, and I think it's a healthy thing to do to a point. Compare and aspire to be better. You know what I mean, and get influenced by the people in the room. And what I was told was that I need to. I think I've embraced my vulnerability, and that I was told that my vulnerability is my superpower. So by opening myself up and being open to, laying myself and being open about everything, from my drinking, from every aspect, and not feeling like worthy about some things, and not feeling confident about things, and just leaving myself out open, then that encourages the people that I work with to be the same, and see that it's fine to be, to share these things, and that it's not a weakness. And I think by me being so open and allowing my vulnerability to show, it allows me to learn a lot from other people's vulnerabilities. And so I learn, do you know what I mean? From me being so, and you've got to be careful. I'm not saying just, be, open to anyone. You've got to be cautious and understand that, there's some things that you have to deal with yourself, and you have
Yeah,
to.
you don't need a trauma dump to the postman, but but
Yeah,
I completely get that. Like vulnerability is a superpower, and I think as men especially, I think it's something that we find difficult to do. But when you do it, I think it kind of feels like taking off chains, to so
yeah,
to speak.
definitely does. And like I've tried to do that um, in my social posts, and it does engage a lot of people. And I've got to be cautious that I'm not falling down the trap of I need to, I need to be open about everything,
Yeah,
and like get those pity likes.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I could you will fall into the trap of that, and that's negative. That's needy, and
Yeah.
it's not inspiring, and it's not, but when I like to share things that I'm doing to improve my life, things that I've overcome, that other people may be dealing with. And like I said, it's on that spectrum. So I posted about my mental health a few days ago, and I felt quite guilty because I was feeling the way I was feeling when I know there was people going through, far greater trauma, and probably just thinking of me, you're just freaking whining. What do you want about? What are you worried about? Like, you got no reason to be anxious. You know what I mean? And I wanted to get that across, that I was feeling that way, but it's okay. It's okay to feel that way.
And I think also a lot of men would be in the exact same headspace that you just described there. Like, oh yeah, I have issues or I have problems, but what's the point in being vocal about it? Because yeah, there's people worse off than me, and that can end up in a a more dangerous situation if that's always the thought process.
Yeah, exactly. And like what it was for me was, it was affecting my home life. It was lack of focus. I just wasn't listening to anyone or anything. Or I was snappy. I was more than snappy. I was aggressive. It was, and I think if I hadn't had a car accident in work, I don't know how far I would have gone. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I wouldn't have been, violent, or I wouldn't have got to the really, traumatic thing. But it led to a car accident,
Mm.
so that was quite traumatic, I suppose. But yeah, I think that car accident happened for a reason. Could have been prevented. I was in a mindset where I thought, bugger it, and my head had gone.
Mm.
It was temper, and that's what led to that. So if it had led to that, what else could it have led to? So I wasn't in a great place. I
What do you
wasn't.
think? What do you think for those listening, especially men listening who might be in kind of a similar situation? What do you think helped to, slowly get you out of that?
Yeah, I can't put my finger on what helped, because I keep relating it back to that car crash, or accident. It was bump. It was more than anything. It could have been a lot worse, an Arctic
Mm.
lorry, but um, that was what it gave me the space. So I would say maybe, try and find some space somewhere, and seek any form of help. So
What do you think gives you space? Like, what gives you a clear headspace? What keeps you kind of grounded?
um, I don't want to say takes that time off work, but that's what I did. I took time away from what was at the time felt that was stressing me out, and it was during lockdown as well. So,
Mm.
but again, you got to. I'm trying to think back. That wasn't the trigger. It was a build up from something that I can't put my finger on. And I remember going over these conversations with they put on these blinking therapists through work and things, which they said help me, but they could help others. And I think you've got to find your own way. And it's like, it's difficult for me to say, this is what, I would do, because I'm going back to, this is how I would train when I first started training. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to coach someone in the way that
I know what you mean. It's like this. You're not saying, all right, so this is the steps that helped me to, feel more grounded and give me the headspace. But that doesn't mean it's gonna, help everyone else.
No, and it can be anybody. It's definitely not drowning yourself in a bottle of blinking whiskey or blinking vodka, whatever it is, or blinking bag of coke. Like, it's not that's not doing you. That's not serving you in any way. That's just forcing you into that downward spiral of shitness, like, because it just causes issues. You know what I mean?
So what about today? What keeps you level-headed today, do you think, to not get too much overwhelm from, let's say, overloading work? You've busy days. So what keeps you level-headed today?
Yeah, focus and purpose is so I'm pursuing a passion. I'm driven to be a successful coach. I've got a lot of things that I'm excited about at the moment. There's a lot of opportunities. This was, this came out of the blue now. I had this, this message off you, and this is, to me, this is a massive opportunity. And so opportunities raise their head when you are, pursuing something. Do you know what I mean? I could have easily have just, carried on drinking, stayed the way I was going, not pursuing anything, dealt with it in that way, hide away, and made my world smaller. But I chose to invest in myself. That's a biggie. So not just invest in qualifications, but invest in self-development. Even like you invest in yourself when you get audio books or buy books or whatever you enjoy doing. Invest yourself in blinking, I don't know, in a gym. Invest in a coach. Invest in a PT. Excuse me. And I think people are afraid to invest money into things for fear, of financial fear, I suppose. And it is a stress, but do it within your means. Like, do you know what I mean? If you were quite, I'm not saying how to spend your money now, but if you were quite happy to spend £300 on an Oasis gig, do you know what I mean? That you'll probably get pissed up and smashed and won't remember a thing. Then you could put that £300, if you are dealing with a load of shit, to solve or try and solve a problem. Then, you know what I mean? An issue that you may be dealing with. If you're going out on a weekend and spending 150 quid on a lash or whatever, and just reel it in for 1 week, and that's a PT. That's. But again, you've got to find a PT that resonates with you and what you were dealing with, not the body. We comes back full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, but yeah, I think, and it also comes back to what you spoke about in terms of like fear of failure. I think a lot of times the financial investment is like, oh, I don't want to spend this money in case I don't get what I want out of this. Whether like that means I'm scared I might fail. I might not be able to do it. I might not have what it takes, and therefore I don't want to have this reminder that I'm a failure, that I spent this money on this thing and it didn't work out. Whereas like the Oasis tickets, okay, it's given to me straight away. I have it in my hand. I know the trade-off here, and I received it.
Oh, I'm going to get smashed, but I think that's but it's going to be a great time. And that's fair enough, isn't it? I'm just playing devil's advocate. But when it comes to investing in anything, even if it's time, energy, money, I keep going energy as well. I got to think about energy, time, money, whatever. You never know, and you never will know. I've bought things and invested in things and courses and stuff that I haven't freaking looked at. And like I was told not. That's one of the things not to do. Don't buy things unnecessarily. But I have, and I learned that was a failure that I've learned from. I probably taken some things out of it, but I probably didn't get the full value. But I wouldn't have known unless I had done that. And I think don't, if you think, if you've got to think, right, this might work for me, you know what I mean? Then have a crack at it. Like, the worst thing is you're going to be out of pocket for a month or two. Like,
I think a big thing you touched on there, that I think a lot of men who might feel aimless is you spoke about feeling excited to do something. And I think a lot of the time, that's definitely something that people lack in their lives. And therefore it's easier to go for the bottle or something, like whatever it is. It's because, like, well, I've nothing else going on, so I might as well,
yeah,
do X, Y, and Z destructive habits. But like you've so much on in your life now that you had to sacrifice alcohol, and that's something that you're happily willing to sacrifice because you know that there's other priorities in your life that are more important, more exciting, and
yeah.
therefore it makes it easier to do that, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you can focus on, like I say, that's when you build goals. If you can build it around something that's going to excite you and you're really looking forward to it, then you're more likely to put the things in place to get to that, and, like I say, sacrifice the things that you know will affect that, put them to one side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could probably guarantee that most of the men that I know who are probably sitting down in the pub now on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, sinking a couple of pints, like they probably don't have much to look forward to for the rest of the week.
Well, apart from that pint after work,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's just from a developed habit. So if it's a
yeah.
Tuesday night, that's not, they're not excited to do that. That's part of
What I do.
of an habit. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if the footy was on, if the Champions League was on a thing, then yeah, okay, you get excited, you go out and have a pint with your buddies and enjoy an experience. But if you were finding that you were getting home after a day's work and cracking open a couple of cans, you're doing that through habit,
yeah,
and
and also escapism maybe a little bit as well.
yeah, yeah, maybe, but I think what you're escaping from,
Yeah, yeah,
it's if you don't change it, it's going to stay the same. So
yeah, yeah,
what do you, if it's causing you that much anguish that you want to escape from it, has it got a place in your life, and what's it there for? And, like I say, there's a trade-off, there's a sacrifice. You're sacrificing your time in a job that you don't want to be in for a financial reward. So it's that trade-off again, and it's so
there's always going to be a trade-off, and you have to then start to weigh them out and say, okay, is this worth it?
yeah, but like, you have to take it, and I say it's if it is causing you that much, if you're not enjoying your job, then there's only one thing, you've got to do something about it. Like, and I know there's responsibilities and things like I had, and I've been through it. I put it off from the age of 21. Like I said, I was in a swimming pool in Florida, and I told my now wife that this is my plan. I want to be a PT, and she held me under the water. But I could sense it was coming, so I put it off. All that time, I didn't have any children or anything, and now would have been a prime time to do it. And I'd have been 20 odd years into this now, and I'd have been James Smith with no hair. Probably not, but you know what I mean. I'd have been that much further along, but it happened for a reason.
Yeah,
I 20 years on, no, it wasn't 20 years, but 18 years further down the line, I'd had kids that experienced a lot more, and I started my coaching business. Do you know what I mean? And it's just gone from strength to strength to strength to strength. And like I say, I've learned that by chasing it, whether I have to pay for something or I have to put myself in a place, if I've got to say, I don't like saying yes to everything, but I see everything now as a bit of an opportunity, because I'm still in kind of the early days of trying to build a brand. I can't say no to a lot of things because everything might lead to something.
yeah.
So, like networking and things, like meeting with you, where if I hadn't put myself forward and signed up for Lewis's thing, I'd never have met you then. So it
it ripples into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Exactly, and it just leads to better things, and I'm a big advocate for that now. The further down the line I'm going, the more happy and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm happy to hand money over if I feel that it's gonna improve me and it's going to take me to the next step. The
trade-offs become worth it in terms of, okay, I'm given energy, I'm given time, but I know that it feels right. It's giving me excitement to continue pursuing down this path.
And everything seems to be going in the right direction, and I'm hoping now, as soon as this redundancy comes through, I can hit the ground running. I may have to ease back on a lot of the things that I'm currently involved with, just because I'm going to have to look after, tighten the purse strings a little bit when it comes to finances, because I'll be down to that sole, just what I'm earning then through my coaching. But I've learned a lot. That's what I've done basically. Everything that I've earned in my coaching, I've basically reinvested, and I think in 3 years, it's kind of accelerated where I am as a coach.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that people start to realize when they do invest in themselves, whether that's in their health and fitness, in their business, or just in their wellness, whatever it is. When they see the impact of that, then they want to do it more and more, because the more you give into that, the more you kind of get out. But it's always hardest at the start when you have the least amount of confidence to invest in yourself, because you don't back yourself. So
it is, but it gets easier, and it makes more and more sense. And you become. I think the more times you can put yourself in that experience, you can almost sense when something's going to work and when something's not going to work. It's the same as trading. That's how trading works, isn't it? So you become more familiar with how things operate, and that's by putting yourself in those conditions. So,
Paul, where can people reach out if they want to send you a question, want to ask you about coaching, just want to chat to you even about things that they've heard today on today's conversation? Where can they reach out and find you?
Well, I am got an OnlyFans site, but on Instagram, so I'm at TayloredBodyCoach on Instagram, and on Facebook, it's just Paul Taylor on Facebook. I have got a website that I set up when I first started the business. It's a bit old. I haven't looked at it in a while, but yeah, just Instagram, probably that'll be the first place to go.
We'll put everything in the show notes anyway. Paul, you've been unbelievable. I really appreciate this conversation today.
Thanks for watching. If you like that episode and you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one.